Welcome to I Collect, the show where I show you what I collected. And I'll tell you what it's about, what it is, what it looks like, yada yada, and whether or not it's worth your money. Let's go right into it. This is Watchmen, the collector's edition. What is this? It's basically a box set for a single movie. Now, normally that sounds a little ridiculous. Some people don't like box sets to begin with, let alone to spend one to buy an entire movie. And I kind of understand that because it's one movie. And of course the box set is going to be more expensive than if you said buy just the movie. So why is this worth it? Well, or for that matter, not worth it. Let me go into what it is first. First you get Watchmen, the uncut DVD. They call it the ultimate cut, the ultimate edition, yada yada yada. It's basically got a whole bunch of extra stuff, extends the movie, shows the story, all that type of stuff. Next is high def bonus featurettes. These are about somewhere around 2 to 3 hours of content. There's 11 video journals, 4 featurettes, My Chemical Romance music video, and Under the Hood is what they call it, which is essentially a retrospective of the entire project, from comic book to movie, things like that. You'll also get a motion comic, which I believe is the entire comic book motion. It'll read it to you, yada yada. And then the theatrical version also of the entire movie, and you get the actual book, the original book. That's pretty cool because the graphic novel alone is pretty expensive, and I'll go into that later on. The first thing that we review on this show is, of course, design. What's design? Let's see how it looks. Step 1 for how it looks. First off, we get this little thing here. Now, I'm not a big fan of these things. Sometimes I keep them, sometimes I toss them out. And this is really just to show that it came with stuff. And we already know that it came with stuff, so let's throw that to the side because let's be honest, even if you kept this completely intact, it's probably not going to be worth big money later on. It's really just for your personal thing. And on the back, it looks a little sleeker, and it has all the little symbols at the bottom and everything like that, which is kind of nice. The front is really, really interesting, and I doubt that you could see it on video, which is kind of sad. But it's one of those multi-pictures where as you move it side to side, you kind of see it change. And I don't know if this is really an effect that you can tell, but if it is, it's pretty cool. So let me explain it to you at the very least. Each one is a picture of a person, one of the characters in the movie. And then this is their appearance in the comic books, and when you tilt it, it becomes their appearance in the movie. That's pretty sweet because it gives you a little idea of how much they actually looked like their characters and or did not look like their characters. So let's open this up. It kind of opens almost as if you had like, I don't know, like in those old movies where people had like a box that they kept of secrety stuff. And it's got kind of a cool little emblem here, little Jolly Roger here. And the very first thing that I noticed is it's got one of these pull strings, which is nice because you can pack everything up nicely and not have to worry about not being able to get it back out or something like that, or always having to tilt the box to get to it. This right here is one of the main pieces that comes with it. This is the original book. Reprinted, of course. It's not like a first release, but it is a nice, reprinted, very, very good graphic novel. This was, for those that somehow don't know, this was a DC comic book originally, and this is the comic book that you read, or watch rather. So this kind of gives us a nice overview that we can actually compare the movie to the book, especially if we're collectors that are that serious. The book is definitely worth a read. Don't just simply watch the movie and skip over the book. You might actually regret that. It is really, really worth your time. It's really cool. You'll see why they decided to make this a movie. And you'll see that there's a couple things in the movie that happen that don't happen in the book, and vice versa for that matter. Next, of course, we have this little tab card here. Nobody really cares that much. Especially if you've seen the Blu-ray review, you've already seen my spiel on these type of things. These things irritate me because a good portion of the time they either don't work or they're too much of a hassle when I should have just been able to put the disc in and get it to work anyway. But this is an ultraviolet, of course, download to your computer movie, so you can take the movie wherever you want, or on your PSP or vice versa or whatever. Next is this thing right here, which I like this a lot. Not only is it in this little slab here, which is pretty cool, so everything kind of fits in nicely and is very, very nice and level when you're done, but this is the actual discs right here. These are the movies. And as you can see as I open it up, it's got some real nice discs, I believe so anyway. Everything from Rorschach here, going on down the line to everybody, and then of course the motion comic, which the motion comic is pretty cool too, because if you're too lazy to read the book, there it is, it's right there for you and you can just check it out that way. The back is actually pretty cool too. I kind of wish that I had this as a poster. If that would have came with a poster, that would have been cool. I'd hang that on my wall. This is actually a pretty nice little representation of everybody from the movie in, of course, their movie adaptations, right here on the backdrop type of thing. And I think that looks really nice. We get some pretty good discs here. Everything's pretty well spelled out, of course. The first disc is the ultimate cut, the one that more than likely a good portion of people are going to want. The other thing, of course, comes down to the special features disc, and then on the next is the widescreen, and then on the next is the motion comic. That's how all this looks. And from what I've seen so far, I have to say that I'm actually impressed with the way that all of this looks. I like this, actually, I do. I think that's a very nice case. I think everything packs up nicely, as you can see. The book goes right back in there with its little tab. Everything is nice and flat and level. We close that on there, and we put it on our shelf. That was design. Let's move on to size. All right, size does matter when we talk about collectibles. One, either you buy a collectible and it's too small and that's irritating, or you buy a collectible and it's just too big. This will not fit on your shelf normally. You're gonna have to make an adjustment on your shelf to get this monster on there. It is large, it's big. That's not to necessarily say that it's a bad thing that it's big. I mean, sometimes that's pretty cool, but with my movie shelf, I don't actually have the space to put this on there unless I want to take up one of my entire racks. My movie shelf is one of those that's broken into segments. Each segment is about this long, about this big, 1, 2, 3. Well, this will take up an entire section by itself, and it makes it hard to sort the rest in alphabetical order, which I actually prefer doing. It makes it easier for me to find my movies. So this is going to have to go on top of my shelf again. And I have a couple box sets that are like that. It can be annoying to have to put this on top of your shelf. So in a way, for me, it's negative that this is so big. But at the same time, I'm going to have to say it's positive because it actually holds the book and I don't have to put the book on a separate shelf or something like that. And it looks really, really good for its size. It's not just a big, bulky, ignorant movie box. So we're going to break even here. Yeah, I think we're going to break even. This isn't even. Now let's move on to the next grading scale, which is, of course, the movie. All right, the movie, hands down, is a really good movie. I actually enjoy it a lot. So easily, just to own the movie by itself, even without the box set, is going to be a plus. I have to give it a plus when it comes to this. So far, we're going to be even plus. Now let's move on to our next category, money. Money. This is one of those things that for some people it's going to mean a lot, for some people it's not going to mean a lot. For this, believe it or not, this gets a plus plus. This was a great, great buy. I'm actually shocked to say that all of this, the graphic novel alone, is going to cost you somewhere around $30 to $40. It's true. Check it out. Go on Amazon or wherever you need to do. Usually these things are pretty damn expensive, especially if you want it brand new. Brand new can be very expensive. You're going to get the book in this. Then you're going to get 2 cuts of the movie, plus you're going to get the digital transfer movie if you really care that much. And believe it or not, all of this you would expect to run almost $100, or at least I would with the way they price some of these Blu-rays. This is $50. $50 for me is without a doubt plus plus. That's great. That is absolutely great. So Breaking it down, I don't have any problem parting with $50 for this whole set. Now, let's move on to our overview. Alright, overview. The overview here is a normal idea. Usually because of this site and the way we work, I usually work as a critic. And even in this stance, I'm going to be working as a critic. So I have to give it my basic score. I like to go out of 5. Of course, if you haven't noticed by now, 5 is a perfect thing. It's really just about as good as you're going to get with whatever it is that I'm reviewing. 4 is really good. 3 is kind of basic. 2, only if you really actually want it. And 1, stay away from it, period. 0, I'm sorry that I even showed it to you. So, to get our full score, let's go over everything that we've talked about so far. 1, of course, was the design. The design for me was very sleek, very nice. I actually find this to be very, very overall well done. So in design alone, of course I'm giving it a plus, so that's 1. The next thing we talked about was size. Size, of course, I said that it could be a bit of a hassle, but it's nice that it has the book. It broke even. I'm going to give it about a 0.5 on breaking even. Next, of course, we talked about quality or product, or however you want to phrase this third little thing that we talk about. Basically, this is where I grade the product in general, whether it was something that I really liked or something that I just thought was cool or this or that. And this movie, of course, I always give this movie a plus, a double plus, whatever you want to say. This was an absolute great movie. And the fact that it came with the book also and product reasoning and all the stuff it came with, I have to give this a 2. I have to give this a plus plus. So that's going to do 2 right there. So we're already at like 3.5. Next, we have to talk about cost. And for $50, this is an absolute steal. You have to have it. It's definitely worth your money. This was $50. I believe I got mine at Walmart. I'm sure you could find it at other places, or if nothing else, look online. Look at walmart.com, try things like Best Buy, whatever, Target even. This was worth your money. At $50, this was an absolute steal. That's a plus plus. So all in all, for the collector in us, this thing is a 5. This is something that is definitely worth getting, putting on your shelf, putting on your bookshelf, wherever you're going to put it, set it out, display it if you want. It looks nice. You can open it up, show it to people. I mean, this thing is definitely worth display even. So all in all, this product is a 5 out of 5. I really enjoy it. I really think this is definitely something worth collecting in general. So all in all, I have to say, guaranteed, this is a 5. This has been worth it. This has been I Collect, where I show you the things that I've collected and tell you whether they're worth it. And today, it was worth it.